Well, hello again, and welcome to our reading of Mark's Gospel. We're up to chapter 7, verse 24. And this is another short pericope here relating the story of the Syrophoenician woman. So, Anastas, this is aorist participle from anhistemi, having stood up from there, he departed into the Horia, the borders of Tyre. Tyre is that city down near the modern Lebanon, the one which was completely destroyed by Alexander the Great and then repopulated back several hundred years before. And having come into the house, he wished no one to know. So he wanted some privacy, and well, it's really a but here, but uk a dunathe lathane. This is from dunamai. So this is the aorist. It's got a double augment here. The verb is dunamai, but they often use this funny double augment. He was not able. Lathane is the aorist, strong aorist infinitive from lanthano, to escape notice. So a couple of funny verb form. Well, this is not funny, but the funny verb form here, adunathan. He was not able to escape notice. And I think this form with the double augment goes back as far as Xenophon. Anyway, but immediately a woman, having heard, this is the aorist participle feminine, regarding him, of whom the daughter of her. So this is redundant. This is this typical redundant pronoun here that we often get. It's that Hebraic interference here. So whose daughter had an unclean spirit. This is the imperfect from echo. Elthusa, aorist participle feminine. Having come, she fell. This is from prospipto. This is the aorist form here, strong aorist from prospipto. She fell at his feet. For the woman was Hellenis. Well, it's not quite clear what that means. In other words, she's not Jewish, so she's Greek in some very vague sense, and then she was Syrophoenician by birth. I think the important thing here is that she's not Greek. She's a Gentile. And this is from erotao. She began to ask him, hina that, ekbale, aorist subjunctive, he might cast out the demon from her daughter. And he began to say to her, and the reply is quite startling, really. It says aphes from aphiemi. This is the aorist. It's an imperative. Aphes, allow the children first to be satisfied. This is the aorist passive infinitive from hortasdo. So allow the children first to be satisfied. Uga est in kalon, for it is not good to take labane, this is from lambano, this is a strong aorist infinitive, to take bread of the children, and balain, to cast it to literally the dogs. This is a diminutive word, kunarion. Kuon is the word for dog normally, but the late Greek likes these diminutives. This is probably house dog is the sense of it, the lap dog. Interesting wordplay here. We get labane and balain. Whether that's intentional or not is not clear, but they're just reversals of the root. So to take bread and to cast it to the dogs. The point being is that Jesus' ministry is to the Jews, not to the Gentiles. And he's being quite almost offensive here to the woman, describing her as though she were a dog because she's not Jewish. Anyway, and she answered and said to him, she has a good rejoinder, Kyrie, O Lord, even the quinaria hypocato tes trapezdes, even the dogs underneath the table, eat from the psychion. This is a diminutive again of psyx is the classical form, but this diminutive is a late word. It's psychion, if you're looking it up. It means morsel or crumb or scrap, from the scraps of the children. And he said to her, diatuton ton logon, on account of this word, hupage, imperative, present imperative from hupago, depart. The demon ex eleuthen, this is from the perfect from ex erchomai. It's an irregular verb, and the principal parts give you the eleuther is the perfect form. So the demon has departed from your daughter, and having gone from ap erchomai into her house, so when she went back into her house, huren, aorist from heurisco, she found the child beblamenon, this is from bellow, literally having been thrown. This is the perfect passive participle, and it's neuter agreeing with paidion, having been thrown onto the bed, and the demon, and again we get another perfect participle, but this is a neuter perfect participle. We've had that elelutha up here. There's the same verb. The perfect participle would be eleluthos, thuia, and thos, and we're getting the neuter thos here, agreeing with daimonion. So neuter perfect participle here. And having gone again from the borders of Tyre, he came through Sidon, which is not that far away, into the Sea of Galilee. Anameson is that standard expression which comes from the Septuagint, although it does appear in late Greek as well. Anameson, between. So he went into the Sea of Galilee between the borders of the Decapolis. And they carried to him, historic present Kophos, a man who is deaf, and mogilalon. Now this is from mogis, which means with difficulty, and that lalio root of speaking. So one who speaks with difficulty. So he's got some sort of speech impediment. And they beseech him that epithe, aorist subjunctive, from epitithemi, that's from tithemi, to place upon, so to place his hand upon him. So they beseech him that he might place his hand upon him. Apolabomenos, and having taken him away, that's the apo, from the crowd, Greek loves to repeat the prepositions, having taken him away from the crowd, kat idion, that's that idiomatic expression, privately. Ebelin, it's from aorist from bellow, literally he threw, we just say it's often used for put or placed, his dactylos, his fingers into his ears, and ptusas, aorist participle from ptuo, to spit. The word is formed from the sound of spitting, ptuo, and having spat, he touched his tongue. This is the aorist middle from that deponent middle verb haptomai. Haptomai, this is the aorist hapsatop. He touched his tongue. Kai anablepsas, aorist participle, having looked up into the heavens, estanaxen, aorist from stenasdo, he cried out, and he says to him, Ephphatha, which again is a Hebrew Aramaic word, which is dianoiktheti, aorist passive imperative, be opened. This is from dianoigo. if you're looking this up, dianoigo, the gamma gets aspirated before the theta. Theta is your normal aorist imperative ending, and the anoig, the gamma that would be here, gets aspirated before the theta. So be opened, and immediately the were opened of him. So we need a subject, which is up here. So the akuai, the ears. So immediately his ears were opened. So that form on the other page was it's just an aorist from anoigo. It's an odd form there. So immediately his ears were opened, and the bond of his tongue was loosed, aorist passive, and he spoke orthos correctly, or clearly perhaps. It means straightly, so he spoke properly, might be good there. And he gave orders to them in order that they might speak to no one. But as much as he gave orders to them, they, this is from Diastellamai, they all the more proclaimed perisoteron more excessively. So all the more excessively did they proclaim. Huper perisos picks up this perisos here. This is almost super excessively. They were amazed, saying, he has done perfect all things well, and he makes the deaf to hear and the dumb to speak.